mowed the lawn and I'm like hot. In the front yard, it's flat and shady, so that was fine. But when I did the sides of the house, it's like downhill and sun. So that was what made me tired and hot, was the two sides of the house. And that I don't mind so much, but I have allergies like crazy all of a sudden, and it's because of all that grass smell. So I just took some tincture, and I'm making some bread rolls, some honey bread rolls. So I just did 2 cups of warm water and about 1/3 of a cup of honey. If you can get raw local honey, that's the way to go. And you'll need 1.5 teaspoons of dry active yeast. And just mix this together. And wait like 15 minutes or so to let it activate. The warm water and the sugars in the honey is what helps the yeast activate. You're also going to need salt. Must have salt. Bread without salt is the biggest mistake. It is inedible, and there's nothing you can really do to fix it. Trust me, I have messed up bread many times, and it's always a disaster. And you're going to need 1/3 of a cup of coconut oil, organic, and 4 to 5 cups of flour. But first we're going to let this rise or activate. All right, this is very activated. And by the way, I did not put 1.5 teaspoons. I put about 1.5, maybe closer to 1 3/4 tablespoons. So now is when I add salt. And this is about 2 teaspoons, 1.5 teaspoons. Stay in the grass, please. And coconut oil. Now this is extra virgin organic expeller press coconut oil. And I also have just expeller pressed organic. The difference is the extra virgin tastes and smells like coconut. This does not taste or smell like coconut. So if you want that coconut smell, like for lotions, deodorants, any DIY beauty products you're making, or the flavor to spread directly on toast or put in your bread or make with brownies, whatever, then you want the extra virgin. But if you don't want the coconut flavor and you just want the healthier oil option for cooking without that coconut flavor for everything else that you don't want to taste like coconut, you want to go for that. And this, you know, you kind of don't want to eat that raw because there's no flavor, there's no point. That one's more for cooking. Yeah, as soon as I knead this bread and leave it rising, I'll come out there to help you with that. Okay. It won't be long. Now, coconut oil, if you don't ever get it, it changes through the year. This time of year, spring and fall, it's the best consistency. Smooth and spreadable and easy to deal with. I love it. It's not complete, it's still a solid, but it's soft. It's like butter out on the countertop. But in the summertime, depending on how big or small your container is, it can be completely liquid because of the warmth. And then in the winter, it's like a rock. So spring and fall, it's my favorite. Favorite time of year to use it for everything. It's just easier to deal with. So now, we're doing water balloons in a minute. I am gonna put some of my home milled flour. I know not everybody mills their own grain. I do have a video showing how I mill my grain. I order it in 50 pounds from Azure Standard. It's this bulk organic company that ships to your area once a month, and you may be on their route already and don't know it, so you should call and find out. Or if you get enough people in your neighborhood or city that want to order and pick up every month and put one in charge person, I think, they may add you to their route. So I'll put the link to their website in the description box. But I order my wheat berries from them, and then I have a mill, and I grind that and it becomes normal flour. So I use about 3 cups of my home milled flour and about 1 cup to 1.5 cups of bread flour. Just because this is so real that it's not very elastic, and bread flour is, because it's had all the bran and germ stripped from it. So all that hardy grain is gone. And so it's very grainy. If I were to only use my home milled flour, it would be very grainy. But when you add that processed white flour, which I get the organic, the best version of it, it has that elastic component to it, and so the bread dough is more fluffy and familiar. Now, if you have a KitchenAid, I highly recommend that you let it do the work for you using the bread hook. I used to knead when I first started way in the beginning, I used to knead my bread by hand. And then my husband bought me a bread machine, and that was awesome. But then when I started to mill my grain, the cycle in the bread machine, the rising time was too long. And so the home milled grain would almost taste like fermented. It would taste just like beer, and I could not eat it. I did not like it. So back then I did used to do a blend of rye and wheat, home milled. So maybe it was the rye. I don't know if the same thing would happen now with just the wheat. Per my husband's request, I stopped doing the rye blend. Now I just do soft white wheat. It's the mildest wheat berry. There's the hard red and there's the hard white, and then there's the soft white. The soft white is the most mild flavor, the less nutty. I like all of them. My husband, his taste buds have been destroyed through a life of processed food, and so he likes the white bread. But he eats mine. And so, bread machine. So then I stopped letting it rise in there. I would just let the bread machine knead the dough for me. Then I would take it out, let it rise in a different bowl for 20-30 minutes, and then I would bake it however I wanted. And then I got a KitchenAid, and it has been the best. I use it every other day. And then most recently I got this incredible bread loaf pan. My husband got it for me for Christmas, and I use it every other day. But today I'm making rolls, so I won't be using it, but this is awesome because I just put the dough in there, let it rise, bake it. It holds it perfectly in this loaf shape no matter how soft the dough is. It's not going anywhere. It's contained here. And then just like a cheesecake pan, you know, take that off. So let me show you this. Bread is very intimidating to people, but once you know how to make it, it's so easy. So I let it stay in this soft, super runny, way too soft, way too runny dough for a little while, just to activate the yeast and the whole dough, get the yeast distributed and leaven, right? Leaven the whole lump is what I'm trying to do here. And then I'll add more when I feel like maybe after 3 or 4 minutes of this, I'll add more flour to where it actually becomes more like a dough ball. So I just added a little more, and this is where you want to be careful. You do not want to put too much flour. Every bread recipe tells you to add enough flour until the dough doesn't stick to the sides of the pan. I disagree. If you wait till that, it's going to be too dense, too hard, not fluffy at all. I prefer it to be runny and like really hard to hold into a ball, because then it is softer and fluffier, more airy. So I probably need to add just a little bit more here. Actually, this might be where I stop. I'll do this fast so it collects that dry dough on the sides. And now I'll add a little more. And when you put flour straight, like right when you put it in, keep it on the lowest setting, because then it hits the sides of the bowl and like rains flour everywhere. It's hilarious. Or you can like trick it and go fast and slow. This will probably be the last bit of flour I add. Yeah, see, now I know this will be it. And then instead of keep continuing to add flour to make it get off the sides of the bowl, I put oil in there. So I'm gonna add some oil to make it really. And now with my hands, I'll take it off the sides of the bowl. So if you go to the store and buy whole wheat flour, I would do half and half. You know, experiment the blends of bread flour with wheat, because all wheat flour from the store especially is so dense. I haven't used it in years. Maybe they've improved it since then, but there isn't anything nutritious in it, just so you know. As soon as you crack the hull of a wheat berry, it starts to oxidize, and you're like, every day it's losing nutrition. So all that flour that's sitting on the shelf at the grocery store, the wheat flour's been sitting there so long, there's nothing nutritious about it, so might as well get the white. So here's my dough ball, and I'm going to set it on the stovetop, covered with either a wet paper towel, not wet, like wet it and, you know, wring it out, a damp paper towel so it doesn't dry up the top of the dough ball, or just a dish rag, and about 40 minutes or so, let it rise. So this is risen, and it's been about 45 minutes. I'm going to preheat the oven to 350, and I'm going to coat my hands in coconut oil to form the rolls. All right, so I just made these not special rolls, just literally grabbed a little ball, rolled it around in my hand, coated it with coconut oil, and put it in the pan. I fit 16 in here, 3, 6, 9, 12, yeah, no, 15. And popping them in the oven at 350 for like however long it takes for them to get nice and golden on the top. And they're ready, and they smell amazing. I still have a little dough left, so I could probably get another 6 to 8 rolls out of that. So we'll have rolls for a few days for sure. We're definitely digging into this right now. Enjoy.